Hi guys, in the previous lesson we have already learned how to read the CSV files or the TXT files, but in this lesson we will also cover how to read them in a more dynamic or professional way, especially when you have the data with the same columns, all the files with the same columns. But before explaining this, I will try to mention a couple of things here. The first thing that we have already read this TXT file with the help of the read CSV keyword, but instead we could also use the read table in order to read it. It would also read it without the problems. Also, if we want to read the Excel file, we should type in instead of CSV or table, we should type in the Excel here. Just a minute. Excel. And the file name here. It will read the Excel files. Even it has a couple of options, again reading the JSON files, etc. We could go to the documentation and learn there deeply, but if we will go through in the future, we will of course cover them. If I type in, just check or copy this file here and paste it here, and delete this separator, we don't need it in Excel files right now, and run it, you could see that it will print our data without a problem. If I look at the crystal file itself, Excel file, it has a sheet name 1, and this could be handy if you want to import a specific sheet. You should just type in the sheet name, and paste the name of the sheet, like sheet 1. In our case, it's the sheet 1, and it will print out the result here. You could see again. And now in this lesson we will try to read the CSV files in a dynamic way. What do I mean dynamic? I mean you might have lots of files in your folder, and in order to read all of them, each time you will need to type in the read CSV code. Instead, we will explain a better or more professional way of doing it. This is called the OS module. We will use the OS module and lister method in order to read all of this data. The first thing that we should do is to import the import OS library, and click Shift Enter. It will import it. No need to download it on your device, because Python has already standardized OS library in itself. All that you need is to import it. The second thing, I will just look at the data that we are going to use here. This is the data for practice folder that I have created intentionally and placed these files here. These files have the same columns. Sometimes you might have a task of combining the files with the same columns, and each time you don't have to read all of them separately. Instead, you could even use the OS module, which fits its content and interact with the operating system itself. Let's try to read these files here, these data for practice files. The first thing, after importing it, I will create a variable called files and define the list, and type in a simple for loop, iterate over it in OS alias. And right now I will do what? I will type in the lister method. What is the lister method? If I just try to call the lister method here, and they wrote something, if I am right now in the pandas folder here and I want to go back one step back here, I will type in 2 dots and slash, click Shift Enter. You go to the lister method. It will read all these files inside of that folder. But after if I have a data folder here, after going back, I have a data for practice folder. Let's say that I want to read all the files inside of the data file for practice folder, for practice. And if I type in the Shift Enter, it will read all these files, you could see. But we have a problem here, the IPNB checkpoints. This is created automatically with the pandas. In order to get rid of them, we could even do what? Say it like print me all the elements from 1 to 10 or 11, does not matter. It will print out the file names of from starting from 1, because this file name, if I go to my folder here, it's counted as a 0, and this is counted as a 1, and that's why it starts from here. And now after importing it, I could clearly see that we could use the same route here, like this one. I will just copy it and paste it here, and delete this one, and click Shift Enter. It will say, no, I will add what? This one here. I will type in Shift Enter and call this, because I have assigned this to the variable. And you can see that the result is the same. I have already called these files here, and now I will have to merge all the files of sales, these files, in a single CSV file. In order to do that, the first thing that I will have to type in again the for loop for file name in files, these files, because we have assigned all these files to this variable. And now I will define the data frame here, df equals to pd read CSV, because all the files are CSV files. And here I will try to do what? Again, copy these paths here, CSV paths, and instead of these file names, I will type in the file name itself, file name. What does it mean? It starts to iterate over these files here inside of the data practice folder, and call after the data practice folder, it's calling this one and this one and this one. But instead of just typing each the file name, we are just assigning the variable name, because this variable is going to iterate over these folders here. If I print out the result, df and Shift Enter, it should print out the error, because it says that no file or directory. I know where is the problem. The problem might be here. I will type in the slash here and click Enter. It hasn't printed anything, but if I just type in the display df, or even why not to just print it out, yes, it will print out without problems. You will see that we have already called all these files with the help of this variable here. This was our first mission here. But now what I want to do, I want to assign the variable here, all data, and after the variable I will import the PD library, because we are working with pandas. And after assigning the PD, we will do what? We will concatenate the all data here, this data to the data frame itself. This variable is being concatenated to this one with the help of the PD library right now. And now I don't know if I can print it out. Let's see. If I print it out, it will say that it's not defined. Yes, because it is not knowing yet what we're going to do. And now if I just try to all this data save to the CSV file, I will have to type in 2 CSV. We will cover this, don't worry. This is just the way of saving the file to the data frame. And after that, I will type in what? The route. Where do we want to save? Let's see that I want to save in the same folder here, this one. And after that, I will just type in the name of the file, auto name it like combined.csv. I want to save all these files to the combined CSV file, and then I will just type in the index equals to false, right? And now if I just try to run this one, it will again print out the error. Why? PD all data, because we haven't defined this data to the data frame. Let's try to add this one to the data frame here. All data equals to the data frame, right? Yes, the first thing I just forgot to assign it to the data frame with the help of the PD, right? And if I shift it enter, you could see it hasn't printed anything. Maybe because it has already saved our file. If I go to the data for practice folder, you could see that it has created combined CSV files. If I look at the data here and this data here, we could clearly see that it could have what? Over than 800 rows here, while in one data it has 283 rows. Yes, we have already, and logically if we just sum them, it might be approximately in that number. Okay, we have combined all of this, but don't forget that when you want to combine it, you should keep in mind that logically it's correct to combine the file names with the same column size. Otherwise, let's see that I want to combine the file names in another folder. Let's see, I will just copy it, paste it here, and instead of read CSV, the practice, I will type in the data. Here I will type in the data too, right? And now I will read what? Read all the files inside of the data, and I want to combine first. Let's see, files. If I try to access these files here, first I run it, it will print out these folders here or files here. But if I just want to combine this one with this one, I will access this like when first or third, and 5 minus 1. Let's see what will it print. Data 6 minus 1, and you could see that it has printed these two files. If I want to combine these files with each other, like or these three files with each other, and see the result, how would it look? If I just run this one and run this one again and go to the data here, it will create the combined CSV files. If I go to the file itself and go down here, you could see that as we have the column names varied in each file, we could hear these blank spaces here because the column counts are not equal in these files here, in these files. Thank you for watching this video. Subscribe to my channel. Have a good day. Bye.